Hey, welcome back to the channel, and today I just wanted to dive into a video that I've wanted to do for a little while, and it's me returning to World of Warcraft for the first time in 20 years. I can't believe it's been that long. I can't believe the game has been out that long. I haven't played it for a long time because it's just something that just fell off my radar for a number of reasons. Those reasons were just kind of basically life and how those things catch up with you. And look, I played World of Warcraft for probably about 5 or 6 years and got really deep into it. I had those late night raids. I was up till 3 a.m. and had work the next day, and I put a lot of time into World of Warcraft when it first came out, and it gave me a little bit of burnout with MMOs, and I hadn't really played any since. You know, I've been a gamer ever since, and I've played a lot of different games, but mainly, you know, I got into the Call of Duty series and then everything else that surrounded that. And you know, if you look back at my channel, I play a little bit of everything. But World of Warcraft for me has always had a soft spot, and I've always kept an eye on what's been happening with updates and things. And I thought it was about time that I got back and saw what it was like for myself. So here we go, here's the video. It's going to give you some highlights of my experience, some of the stuff and my thoughts since I was playing. I've been playing now for about a week and a half, 10 days, something like that. Currently at level 60 something or whatever. In the first time I played 20 years ago, I played as a druid and a night elf, and this time I've gone as a night elf again, but I've gone as a rogue, and that was really a completely different way of playing for me. And interestingly, I screwed up massively in a couple of ways, and it's taken me until probably at least level 45 to get my hang of that type of character and how I should be playing it, and all of those things. So you'll see some of that throughout the video, and some of you will be sat there screaming at your monitors going, what the hell is this guy doing? So initial thoughts, look, it's the same game. There's just more complexity in there, there's more quests, there's obviously all of the expansions that have happened over the time, and then it's the small things that they've added or changed over the years that I'm on the fence about, really. I can see why they've made some of the changes, like the one button click, for instance. I thought, oh, that doesn't feel to me like it's playing to the original, you know, trueness of the game. They've obviously gone after more casual players that you know, don't want to be kind of selecting every move that they make when they're, you know, in a dungeon or a raid, and they've just been after, you know, someone that could just run through, spam that button, actually make kind of generally the right sort of moves, and then play the game. So that was probably one of my first observations. However, I did find myself using it because I did, as you'll see, screw up a few times in the way that I set up my UI initially, and I was missing some skills, and I was really getting a little bit frustrated with the game, going, I can't remember it being like this and this sort of slow. And I thought rogues especially were meant to be doing heaps of damage and you know, be the strong damage dealers, you know, from the past, from what I knew. I just wasn't getting that, and there was a number of reasons why, and I'll talk through those as they pop up in the video, and they were some aha moments for me, but I feel quite stupid with some of the decisions that I made. So sit back and enjoy some of that. Kind of what are my other thoughts? Look, massively nostalgic, like going back to somewhere that you spent so much time with, all the POIs and, you know, the characters that you interacted with, and, you know, going through some of the storyline and quests again was really cool. It's been really cool to go through that, and then obviously all the new stuff that I've never experienced, and the expansions especially. The world now is overwhelmingly massive. and that's obviously everything that they've added over the years. And I found myself really unsure where to go, but I found that as I kind of got higher through the levels, that I've needed to be more conscious of where I was playing, and which isle I was on, and which expansion was the one for me. And I think the game kind of takes you through that quite well. One thing I haven't tried yet is the PvP. I liked to do a bit of PvP in the past, and when that first came out, that was quite a big deal, and going on those and doing the PvP through those kinds of those wars and stuff. My thoughts on kind of the lore, I've completely missed out on what that is and what that looks like now. So there's some stuff that's going on that I haven't got a clue what that is, or what's happened here, or these fractions and this thing has happened. I just don't know what's going on. So I've tried to ignore that, because I wanted to see. I'll do a first playthrough of this character, or a playthrough, but I'll probably get to level 80 and then just see how I feel, whether or not I start another class, and maybe spend some more time, just take it a bit slower, rather than just trying to power level my character through dungeons. I might just take a bit more time, and then even start to look to maybe join a guild, or get a bit more into it. But for the time being, I think I just want to experience the game over the next couple of weeks. I should be at level 80 quite soon. I've found that leveling these days doesn't seem to be as much as a grind as it was before, and I don't know if that's something they've adjusted, or maybe it was just my view of the game at the time. So I'd really be interested in your comments on how if you have been a regular player for the past 20 years, what your thoughts are there. It's a really strange one that a game of this type has managed to last this long, and trying to keep it fresh and keep like the core fans happy, but also bring on new players, because you need to bring on new players as the generation like me gets older and just doesn't play the game anymore. So you need to bring new people online. Is the game appealing to the Roblox and Fortnite generation now, that obviously as their gaming taste gets a little bit more sophisticated and they want to experience other types of games? Is this something that is going to draw in younger people, or is this really a game that's relying off its fan base that's built over 20 years? Could be a combination and a mix of things, but I'd be interested to see what you guys think about that. Are you newer players to World of Warcraft? I mean, the last 5 years would be newer, or are you like me, you played initially and then you've come back? So it'd be good to get your thoughts there as well. As the video goes along, please shout out and comment when you see that I'm either doing something stupid, or some way that you can help me, because it is really overwhelming coming back to a game after 20 years and not understanding even some of the basic mechanics that you're doing. There's been some dungeons that I've been on, and I literally relied on that one-click action key to kind of get me through, because I was just kind of following through and trying to help as much as possible, and obviously enjoying the gold and the loot as I go. What are my highlights? My highlights are the nostalgia, going back to the POIs, and being pleasantly surprised by how accessible the game is now. And I know that's kind of a bit of a grating one for some people, that the core of the game has been stripped down and watered down for accessibility. But it also seems to me that if you want to play in a more original classic style, you can. All the mechanics are there to do that, but I think it does give more casual players the opportunity to pick up and play. I'm not someone who has unlimited time. I do have a full-time job that requires me to put the time and effort into that, and then everything else that surrounds my life, children, and all of those sorts of things. And I think it being able to play the game and it being more casual in some aspects is appealing. So I don't know. I'm still kind of undecided what my final thoughts are on my couple of weeks experience. I think, like I say, I'll do a follow-up on this once I pick up to and get myself to level 80. Okay, here's a big one that so a big take for me was, is the game too easy? Is the game if they're taking it too far, and is it too easy and too accessible? And I know that's a really strange thing to say, because the more like I said earlier, the more accessibility you have, the more players that you can have, and then obviously there's more money and more investment, and that's potentially good for the game. But some of my favourite games of all time have been the most challenging games, or the games where there has been a real sense of something at stake. I think about some of my favourite experiences recently over the past couple of years was one of them was the Resident Evil 2 remake, and playing that on a harder difficulty, and just remembering that there's a little bit of at stake here, and there's some tension, and it builds up kind of that excitement. And then if I think about, for me, one of my top 3 games of all time, Elden Ring, how challenging that can be at times, and the challenge with games tends to have the more challenging the game, the harder you have to, the more effort that you have to put into to beat the game. Sometimes it feels like that's the most rewarding. And I remember playing Bloody Moog in Elden Ring, and I think I got beaten by him about 45 times, and just going back, trying different things, then going to Renala, getting respect, and then trying something different, and then finally beating him, and the sense of that was so good. Because I think we all need a level of challenge to kind of push us to feel that like something is more special when we complete it. And I haven't really got that with this new experience of World of Warcraft, and maybe that is because predominantly I'm playing on my own, apart from when I'm doing dungeons instances, and that's just obviously playing with more solo players or things. And maybe there's something I'm missing there. I don't know. The game feels easier. The leveling feels quicker. Earning gold feels easier. And I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if what the game's trying to do anymore. Where I remember getting to level 80 before took months. It literally took months to get there. Because you're exploring, you're trying different things, you might die or try and get yourself better gear, or join up with players that are able to help you or power level you a little bit to get you where you needed to be. And I just don't see that now. I think if I was just looking for dungeons all of the time, and I just kept running through it takes like half an hour, 30 minutes for a dungeon, and by that time you've probably done a level and a half, and you've got yourself some good loot and some good gear, and it doesn't seem as punishing. And I don't know if that's something that I'm just experiencing or others have seen that too. You'll probably see a couple of clips here of just kind of cruising through some of these dungeons, and nothing really happens, and there's no real threat where you'd have to communicate really well as a team in order to kind of take some of these harder bosses down. You'd have to have the right buffs on, etc. But this does, and it has certainly felt like a bit of a buttons spamming session, which just isn't rewarding in the end. And I don't know, that's kind of my general thoughts so far. Okay, so some major mistakes that I made, and I'm just going to come out and be completely honest here, and I'll show you some of the clips of what happened. And I don't know why, don't ask me. Like I say, I have played this game for many hours before, and for whatever reason, maybe I'm getting older and stupider because yeah, I made some dumbass mistakes. Okay, number one was I tried to play around with my UI and completely screwed it up, messed up the bars, and then got to a stage where I had my skills on my bars and my talents, and then I just couldn't figure out why I wasn't doing as much damage, and why were the cooldowns so long, and what the hell was going there. And it turned out that I just hadn't clicked another tab to look where my actual spells were. Absolute rookie, idiotic mistake. And as soon as I found that, I was like, oh, there's like 25 different things that I can add to my bar now, and oh, look at me, I can actually go and do damage now and figure that out. So yeah, roast me in the comments because that was idiotic. Number two is I was looking at my two-handed weapons, and I thought, oh, I really need to get these upgraded, and I wasn't finding anything in any raids. So I thought, oh, I'll look to buy something. So I went to the auction house and I was like scrolling through, found something for my level. I was like, awesome, great. And it was maybe, 400 gold or whatever. Not that much these days, but 400 gold. And I think I got an axe. I was like, oh yeah, look, the stats look good, and if I replace it from my current weapon, it's going to do this. And I was like, cool, let's go. That'll sort me out for the next 5-10 levels. So I equipped that, and then I soon realized that there were a number of my skills that I could no longer do anymore, because of course, you guys will be shouting down at the screen that I'm a rogue and I'm an assassin rogue, and for me to be effective, I need 2 daggers. And when you've got 1 dagger and an axe, that's not going to work. So I learned that the hard way. Wasn't obviously doing as much damage, couldn't pull off all my movesets and combos, and yeah, that was lame. Until then, later on, I thought, oh, I'll go and buy another dagger then. I don't really mind grinding out a bit of gold. Couldn't find one, but then I finally found one in a dungeon that I did, and I was like quite thankful for that, and I'm kind of back to 2 daggers and been able to use my specialization, which is really cool. So that was an idiotic thing I did. And what else? Look, there are probably a number of other things that I'm not doing well, or the way that I could set up. If you guys could have a look at the way that I've got my bars set up, or the way that my character's set up, I'll just try and keep a keen eye out in the video and have a look at my gear and also what I'm doing. And then please in the comments, like, drop some, hey Superfly, maybe try this or try this, that would be cool, because I'd really love to have some help to enjoy the game more. Because like I said, I'm going to get through this up to level 80 with this character, and then I'm going to try and try some others. I've never been a priest or like a healer type class, maybe like a paladin or something, like a bit of a combo. So I might try something like that next. I like the idea of that. I do like the combat, and I do like being a bit of a tank. I've played a pure warrior before and been a super tank, and I quite enjoy that, like getting in on the action. But then as I progress and get a bit more skill, I think it's gonna be interesting to see if I could maybe be a priest and be useful in dungeons and raids and level through there, because that's going to be a completely different experience, being a bit of a glass cannon. Hey, thanks for watching. That was my first kind of take on my first couple of weeks of coming back to WoW after 20 years. So yeah, please like, subscribe, and comment as usual to support what I'm doing if you like what I'm doing. And yeah, catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers. Bye.